We're on day 2. We got some Clicks World Order. Hey, Jalen, show us your cool shirts here. There you go. How does it feel to be on Clicks World Order with your father?
With my dad, I mean, it's my dad. It's ride or die with him. It's awesome having him with my team.
All right. So, is this whole new experience just something like you were looking forward to? It's something that you're like, yes, I got drafted.
Oh yeah.
They called my name.
I love being on a team, man. It's awesome.
All right. So, overall, what do you project is the future of Clicks World Order? Where do y'all think you're all going to probably be doing next?
We're going to be everywhere, all around. Hopefully to get more recruits. If anybody's like not on a team, so if you're not on a team, we're open. If you want to, be on a team. It's just being on a team is a lot better than playing by yourself.
All right, that's it. All right, so we have that. We also have many other people here. It is a good turnout. This is team day. Team day. All right, I got DJ Riggin. This is y'all new Juggernaut shirt.
Yeah, it's a 3-man team shirt from me, James, and Brad.
So y'all decided that Juggernaut needed guns.
That's right. Bang bang, bang bang,
bang bang. Okay.
That's BB Gun Kelly.
BB Gun Kelly. Yeah. All right. So as I step aside, and not block traffic. So what inspired this shirt?
Bullet Club from New Japan Wrestling. We're all three, me, Brad, and James are all three wrestling fans, so we decided to do Juggernaut Club. Kind of a wrestling fan thing mixed with our team name. So.
All right. So there you go. It's all new fashion, old fashioned, more Juggernaut Club and stuff. But all right, let's zoom in on that money. Tomorrow, folks are coming for that check. So yeah. All right. So that's it so far for day 2. I'm gonna come back a little bit later, show you all some more stuff. All right, it's top J Major. I didn't even have a chance to get my stuff in focus yet. J Major, people. J Major. All right, it's semifinals. We got a decent turnout. People, unlike J Major, are competing. So we got some good competition going on, some good matches. Jalen Major representing CWO. But yeah, we got some interesting matches. It's a nice amount of people. It's 21 people, and top 10 move on. So yeah, it's on like Donkey Kong. And yeah, all right. So like I said, we got tons of space, and I think I've seen some interesting teams. I've seen a lot of Goblin Kings, some Unimind, some X-Men, some Star Fox, Cosmic. So a lot of usual suspects. So yeah, all right. That's it. I'll see y'all in a bit. Okay, I'm here with Wes Summers, and we're at the tail end of October. I'm sorry, people. Today was freaking crazy up in this place. Your boy made top 16. Actually, we both made. You made top 32. Wes made top 32. For those people who don't know who this is one of the great minds in stratagem, Wes Summers. Say hello to nice people. There we go. And you see how good he is? He gets it in frame. Like perfectly in frame. All right, so let's talk about each of our teams, what we played and why we played it. So I'm gonna start with you because you're the guest here. What did you play? Because you had something very interesting.
I played 150 point Fast Forces Shredder, Lockjaw, Ironheart, Suited Henchman, and Dribbles. I also played the Symbiote and 6 IDs.
Okay, so for some people who are wondering, what sort of 3rd level Jedi Kung Fu chess are you playing there? Explain why did you have that set up?
So, whenever I go about building a team, the first thing I always think about is what is the meta? I look at the meta and I figure out how I want to tear it apart. And the meta right now was really revolving around Starro, was really revolving around Green Arrow, it was revolving around Star Fox, it was revolving around all of these figures that were really attacking from great distances. We're talking about 8 squares plus, 8, 9, 10 squares plus, right?
Yeah, Mjolnir or not.
No one wants to get close. Right? Everyone's afraid to mix it up. So I played a 150-point figure that forced them to say, I can't touch you unless I get close. So Shredder has a trait that says that he cannot be targeted by an attack if you're not adjacent to him.
I thought it was he just can't be targeted, or just specifically
can't be targeted by an attack.
Okay.
So you can like outwit him, you can perplex him, you can problem, that's fine, but you can't target him with an attack. So no Star Fox, no Giant Reach. If he's on a square of elevation, like on the zip line by himself, he's almost impossible to attack. So he just defensively is super strong. He also at 150 points has 2 stop clicks with impervious. So unoutwittable, unignorable impervious is never a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
So including 1 stop click literally on click 2. So it happened to me more than once. Someone pulse waved me for 5 or 6, thinking, okay, this is how I ignore his trait and get through his stuff. And then I just click the dial once and they rage.
Yeah. So it's like if you threw away all those cool plastic toys from Turtles just to get a Mudman, you may have made a grave mistake.
People thought that Mudman was the best figure in that pack, and no question Mudman is good. Shredder is amazing. Shredder, as far as if you're looking for a dark horse underplayed figure, that Shredder is definitely underplayed. If you want to talk about my matchups today, for example, I went undefeated in Swiss 4-0. My points were not fantastic, but they never are. I play a lot of Don't Die Tech. I eke out wins and I move on.
Yeah.
But I was 4-0, including beating 3 stars. So that's not an insignificant accomplishment.
And see, and that's the thing with the Starros in particular, is everybody was like, what's the team to beat? And we all said Starro.
Everyone said Starro.
Everyone said Starro. So when all said and done, the question comes in, it's like, everyone had to have a plan for how you're going to play against Starro. Whether it's like, I know my plan was, even if it was PJ, if I was high enough up, I'm like, yo, send them Starro fights. As soon as they get midfield, I'm going to dance up, shoot your group, and like find a way to dance back, and it's going to be like 25-3. Send Star Fox and Lockjaw out, and then we can do this fight. If you send Star Fox out by himself, I have more than enough guys just to like body. Like you don't have enough stat mods to punk Wasp part of the Avengers. You don't have enough stat mods to punk another Star Fox.
Wasp part of the Avengers has a deceptively long dial.
All right, so like what ended up happening with my team is like Wasp part of the Avengers, you end up creating a very interesting situation because most people are used to like, oh, well, I'm going to hit you for 5 and you're dead, right? And it's like, no, I'm still alive.
And now you targeted me and hit me with an attack. You're in trouble, Willow.
Right, and then
it goes downhill from there.
It goes down there from there because here's the issue, and I had to learn this from PJ last night. Too many times in most of my matchups, I was like, well, of course, I make Hawkeye Colossal, then I get my TK out, then I go downfield, then I light everything up, and then PJ sort of said, like, look, man, you don't have to rush this. And what happens if you just move up aggressively and they can't come at you? You can still initiate that same Hawkeye attack, and there's nothing that they can do. That's why every Hyper Taxi team that I faced today came to me, because they knew that if they stayed on the other side of that map, it was done. They were going to get hit. Everybody knew they were going to get hit, but they knew if they were on that other side of the map, they weren't going to be able to do jack. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, but yeah, I was running Avengers team. I took out Mjolnir. I also rearranged some things. I took out 8 Batman. I put in 2 pulse wave. Put in 2 pulse waves
For Gabi.
For Gabi, you have to. Everybody's talking about Goblin King, so you have Banshee, which Star Fox can summon, and then this is what gets people is they'll never see it. Like, okay, I have Iceman, which Hawkeye can summon. And so what ends up happening is folks will be like, well, you're never going to double token your Iceman to sidestep in and put in Iceman. But
yes, you will.
I will.
If it means hurting a Goblin King, right?
Or killing a Goblin King.
You can get it if you can catch it when it's double tokened, right? You know?
Yeah, and then and you get barrier because you have to use the headmaster, and then now I have barrier. I'm pretty much safe to single target pulse wave you for 4 or 5. Sorry, for 4. And when you understand that, it's like, okay, cool. Now, like, folks will be like, oh, but you have trouble alerts and everything else, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I do have trouble alerts, but not once all today did trouble alerts really could have been a thing. In my last game, I could have trouble alerted, but it would not have helped me.
Not a single one of my opponents. And so my matchups today, I played, again, 4 rounds of Swiss. I played against 4 Cosmic Beam teams, 3 of which were Staros. Not a single matchup did they call in a trouble alert. No.
See, and that's what surprises me is that's the whole part of having star fights.
Right?
Yeah, because the star fights are autonomous. They make those attacks for nothing.
Well, so much of my tech, and even to a certain degree, so much of Staro's tech is point denial, right? So whenever you start calling in those trouble alerts and you realize, oh, they're squishy, that's an easy 30 points. That's an easy 40 points. Right?
And they click down if you roll on.
Right. So you really don't want to call those in unless you're certain that you can get them out of dodge.
Or have them capitalize score more than what they're worth.
Right.
And that's something
which just won't happen with my build.
Right. And even with my build, there are very few situations where you're like, oh, yeah,
now's the time.
Now's the time. I've missed 3 attacks. I have a leadership. I'm going to bring in whoever. And then even then, I can say like, okay, I title Colossal Retail with Wasp, miss. Punch with Wasp because you have CCE, which most people do not think about. They just like, oh, so you got a 9 attack. And I'm like, well, I put 1 perplex from Cap on you, then now she can be a 12 with that CCE to hit for 3. And then they're like, oh. And most defenses you're hitting are 17 and 18, so I need a 5 or 6 most time to tap you for 3. And most people aren't seeing that.
This is one of the first times, at least since I've started playing, where defensive values have not been that terribly high, right?
The defensive values have not, like, let's rephrase that. Name a 20 defense in Modern that's not a Colossal on some stupid high point dial.
Unimind.
19 on 275.
He has the ability to get to a 20D by himself.
He can get to a 21, 22 by himself. But realistically, let's ask this. As he can get to a 22, how many different teams can get to a 15? And you're back at standard deviation. Like 14 and 15 is not that bad. And I mean, like, even with Hawkeye, if I said like, ooh, you're sitting on a stupid high defense, I'm gonna perplex up by 2 with Star Fox on attack and perplex up with Cap and make them a 14.
It's a 14, right?
Yeah, like, ooh, like you would be surprised. I rolled 3s today. 3s.
And hit.
And I'm like, oh, I missed. I hit. I rolled a 3. and you don't want to be you don't want to be a douchebag.
Right.
And say like.
But it's hard. It's hard to be humble with the 14 attack.
Yeah, right? You're like, oh, I hit. I hit. Yeah. Yeah. Take that 2 damage. Because but yeah, but that's the thing is like you bring it up. All right, defensive values are low. Attack values are higher. Stat modifications are more prevalent.
Gone is the day of Despidara, right? So there's nothing like that at all in the meta right now.
And gone is Nighthawk Prime.
Gone is Nighthawk Prime.
And Nighthawk Prime was probably one of the best and worst things from the game because it brought in, at that time, it wrangled in a game that was just like, I get free stat mods for breathing.
Out of control, right?
Out of control.
Batteries with entities, right? It was out of control.
Out of control. But now...
Despidar and Nighthawk was out of control, Isaac.
Hold up, wait.
It was pretty crazy.
This is commentary.
So, for those who don't know, Isaac Berkovich, I'm completely messed that up. I'm sorry, my friend. Won the World Cup 3 years ago with Despidar and Nighthawk Prime.
Before the errata.
Because,
you know, WizKids will pretty much
drop the hammer.
Bork everything. Yeah, after you win something. Okay, so let's go back. I went 3-1. My loss was to Wales on stream, mainly because I forgot about first turn immunity. And I cannot say like, oh well, if I had known that and played better, like no. Yeah. So if I knew better when he put me on the underground map, the best that I could have done was be on back row 1, on the first initial rows, have horrible positioning for deployment, protect Hawkeye as much as I physically can be possible, and then just be like, all right, and now I start here. That was my best option if I did it, because I lost map. If I won map, because again, the difference between map roll, I think, between my team and the Wales teams was 2.
Which is easily overcame.
Yeah, you can overcome that. So if I got map, we're going to Genosha, and he's done. Like this, he is functionally done, because he could try to say like, oh, I pass, of course, first turn. He could say, I'm going to stay here. If he stays there and doesn't leave his starting area, again, his starting area is coming up. My starting area does not come up. This is what I'm
up on the battle royal.
And that's one of the things that I end up finding out is your opponent's starting area comes out one row and up one column. Okay. It doesn't go out and up on both sides. It goes out one side.
And up one.
And up one. So you get to pick. And so if I was...
In the case of Genosha, though, with its corner, it does both, yes?
Yeah, it would go out one, up one. But,
right.
But still...
But with the standard starting area, though, with 3 sides, you have to pick which column.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you pretty much with Genosha, your corner is just going to come out. But since I'm going first and I have to place first, I won't get that benefit. He'll get it, but he still is going to be up 2 more squares.
Yeah,
that's not insurmountable. So you're going to say like, all right, well, he's going to burn. He's going to burn like he did against me, Professor X to get shape change, and then move up, and then say like, okay, I've moved up, and then my next turn I'm going to colossal retaliate all over. Then I could just be like, well, let me put everything into range, make sure you're within all my theme props, TK out, running shot, kill all your colossal retaliators. That's more than the points of Hawkeye. Try to go through all that other little jank that's left, ping them all, if I roll shape change and I can't get that last one, I don't care. Have a free Hawkeye. I've scored more than Hawkeye's points. So map does matter, and the shape changes matter. But every other match, like I said, they were like rushdown teams that came to me. And then I lost in, I had a rushdown team in top 32, and I lost in top 16, primarily because I KO'd the wrong Eternal. I KO'd Unimine, KO'd the wrong Eternal, and I should have pushed my Wasp Party Avengers to KO the second Eternal. If I did that, I would have definitively won. So there's little things like that where it's like, yeah, you can forget that, oh, you theme prop with the Colossal. Now you have 2 tokens. There's nothing stopping you from Colossal pushing. There's nothing stopping you from Colossal pushing. So anyway, that summarizes my day. Do you have any comments about any other teams you faced?
I mean, so because Starro was so dominant in my day, it was Starro. There were nothing really surprising. The effectiveness of the Joker ID was paramount. My match with Lane Miller, I called out Joker adjacent because Lane knew that if he stayed back with Star Fox, Starro, and Lockjaw, that he could never damage Shredder, and that he was going to have trouble winning the game because then he's just taking pings on Lockjaw and Ironheart, and that's a losing proposition really in the long term because he's slugging to get 25 points or he's slugging to get 75 points when he needs those bigger hits. So he has to phase up with Star Fox. So he phases up with Star Fox carrying Lockjaw. I sidestep auto breakaway with Shredder, call in Joker, who gets rid of Star Fox's perplexes because of his intimidation.
Yeah.
And then just swings on Star Fox, needs a 7, hits the 7, rolls a 4 for blades, which knocks him to stop click, then poison. Dead.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty important.
Now here's a hard one.
I mean, and that's the thing I think that comes in where we saw multiple adaptations of the Starro tech. Like I know Dusty Cedars was running with penguins. I know another Clicksman was using. What was he using?
which one?
Huh?
Which one?
I forgot his name. There was another one running it, and
Red Sheriff?
I think so.
Michael Eskew?
Probably, yeah. Michael Eskew had a different build. I forgot.
I played him round 1. It was Lockjaw, Star Fox, Mudman instead of Green. Mudman instead of Green.
Yeah, and even with Mudman, that's not bad because you're like, okay, well, I don't have the leadership, but here's the thing: you have somebody there that
Does that team need the leadership?
Why am I taking Molly Hayes
There was 2 vision cards in there.
That is true. Like depending on how you look at it.
What is
Mudman? I mean, if you have the Mudmans, then yeah, I get it.
No, he did. That's right.
But okay, sorry, go ahead.
So Michael Eskew, I played him round 1. I killed Mudman. No, excuse me, I didn't play him round 1. What was the guy I played around on his name? Anyways, he was playing a Star Fox, Lockjaw Unseen, and stuff. I think 2 floors and a group. And he, his crucial mistake, I think, was he phased up with Unseen, just sort of threw him out there like you do. You know, it's Unseen. You think, you know, what's going to kill him, right? And turns out Storm can one-shot Unseen.
I know, we're missing.
Yeah.
So single target pulse wave Unseen with Storm, and that, as they say, is that matchup. My next matchup was against Starro, against Michael Eskew, killed his Mudman, and then last round I called in all new Wolverine to double tap his Starro, which killed his Starro, and secured the match for me. Round 3 was against Alex Coos. Again, Starro, Star Fox, Lockjaw group. Because apparently all of Clickstop has a Starro. Right?
I guess.
So, and they all run the same build, which in a meta this diverse,
You don't have to worry about
seeing an entire team of great players like Clickstop run, except barring 1 or 2, running identical builds.
Yeah, because David ran Goblin King.
David did not run Goblin King. David ran Goblin King, and Tylor ran his Wells team, of course.
Yeah.
But every other member of Clickstop ran Starro.
Did Sam run Starro too?
I think so. No, was it a Samcat team that Sam ran?
I don't know. I didn't see what Sam ran.
At any rate, 4 members of Clickstop, 3 or 4 members of Clickstop all ran identical builds. This meta is diverse enough to where that's not necessary. It's really, no build is so strong that it lifts up no build will carry a player in this meta, I think, because the meta is diverse enough. Starro doesn't carry an unskilled pilot.
Well, and here's where I would sort of come back at, and this is more of a team culture statement than anything else, and this is not critical of Clickstall. I think what it comes down to is Dan is a very strong leader.
Yes, I'll agree with that.
And I think the imprint of that is he is very successful, he is very well analytical minded, and he spends time
He's
playing.
assertive too. There's an assertiveness about Dan, which I think leads people to follow him. If they have any doubts or any questions in their own mind about their own strengths, that weakness, not weakness, that uncertainty can be replaced with Dan's assertiveness.
Yeah, and that allows a person to sort of focus in. It's like, okay, well, this is the build, and that has pros and cons. And I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said there's usually two types of HeroClix team leaders. One of them is like, follow me into battle.
That's Daniel Powell.
And then it's like I will slay all that are before us. You take care of the minions, and we will meet on top of the mountain and have all of the bounty. Like,
right. That's Dan.
That's Dan.
That's Dan.
Like that's definitely Dan. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then you sort of have me on the other hand, just like, let me get into your mind, and I will make a new person out of you. And both sides have pros and cons. And both teams lead to certain people. Sorry. It leads to being beneficial to certain people. So anyway.
So I would say that your team, Phoenix Nest, it really has more skilled pilots. Right? Your team has a lot of very, very skilled pilots on it.
We do, but it's also like, I would argue is this.
Who would you say is the strongest builder on Phoenix Nest?
I can easily say, like, ranking right now, PJ, then immediately Lucas, and then right after that, I can give a strong tilt towards my one invisible man that nobody will ever play. I can't tip my other trainer. Like, he has to stay anonymous.
Sure.
Not for multiple reasons, but he has a jersey. And if you're in Florida and you see this guy running around with a jersey, and you're like, I've never seen this guy before, then you found the invisible man. But until then, yeah. So anyway,
so it's like with Strata. I mean, Easton, for example, is the pilot, right? He is the pilot. You can give him a pile of random clicks out of your collection, and he will find a way to win.
Yeah, so with Matty G.
Matty G, the same thing. Matty G and PJ, I think to a certain extent. Not as much as Matty G. Matty G's an outstanding pilot. You can give Matty G...
He's Luke Skywalker with the Force.
That's what I say.
He's Luke Skywalker with the Force.
He's an outstanding pilot. If you give, like earlier this year, Matty G took my White Queen deck, right? And he piloted White Queen to win a Super Q. I couldn't get past Easton. I got to second and ran into Easton. But he took my exact same build and won with it because he is a pilot.
Yeah. So anyway.
What?
So anyway, when we look at that element and sort of with that team standpoint,
how do you balance that?
You can't. Like okay, it's just like some people get on me. It's like there's the point in time where I could have recruited Lane Miller. He was recruited by Matt. And Matt was like, why don't you pick up Lane? This is after we got second place in teams and we lost in the team finals. And then Lane was like, hey, Lane was saying like, he's saying we should pick up Lane. And then what I came back in, I was like, I don't think he fits the culture. And I don't think that he's the best fit for our team because I don't think that he would have developed like. And then some people might be saying like, you're stupid, he's a winner, look at him, the next year he did great, he also kicked your butt at nationals. Aren't you pissed off now you didn't get Lane? I'm like, no, because he is successful under Dan. So I would say like, look, if you were under me and we're butting heads and you suck and you're not getting what you need and you're successful on somebody else's team and you're winning, then it was better for you to be on somebody else's team. I had a talk with another person, and there was a point where he was like, well, you know, he and I were cool. He's like, well, you know, I thought maybe I was going to get on the team. I'm like, man, I didn't have the infrastructure to take care of you. So even if I did draft you and bring you in, you would not have gotten the benefit of what the team is supposed to offer.
Right.
And so
Right.
what good is it to collect heads?
Right.
You know,
right.
like, and this is not a shot against Clicksman or Juggernaut or any
Anyone
other
else.
team.
Right, no.
But yeah.
Every team has its own culture.
Culture,
for sure.
yeah.
And you have to respect that culture, right? And the second that you start throwing that culture out the window just to make someone happy, the team starts imploding.
Right.
Because then it's no longer the same team that the previous members were used to. So you have to be self-reflective enough to know that I would love to have you, however.
Yes. However, you don't like. I have a West rule, and my West rule is this: if West don't like you, no matter how much I want you,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
And he's talking about Wes Griffin.
Wes Griffin,
Not myself.
not Wes Summer. Yeah, I have a West rule, and it's just like, look, I have a co-captain. He handles, you know, other things that I can't handle. You know, like there's only so much an individual can do. Like you have other people on your team, and I've outsourced other things to other people on my team. And if someone was like, "Hey, I want to come on the team," and Wes is like, "No, man, me and him won't work," I'm like, "All right, I'm sorry, buddy. I can refer you to 6 other teams, and my recommendation will be like a automatic in. It's like hell. The president of the United States came in and said, "Hey, there you go. You get to go to any country you want. There you go. You want to be in that country? You want to be a citizen of that country? I'll recommend that you use it that country, that you are a recommended citizen. You should be a citizen of that country." And then they're like, "Oh, you're recommended by Edward Shelton." Just like if vice versa. If you recommended me one of your guys, and you're like, "Yo, he's not going to fit on strategy, but he will fit on Phoenix Nest," and I'm like, "Okay, let's evaluate."
You would think about, yeah,
I would think
give you
about
pause,
that.
right?
It would give me pause. So that's the thing. Like when I look at Clickstuff right now, it's not the fact that they're myopic. I think it's the fact that
What do you mean by myopic?
they only have one vision. I'm not going to say they're myopic because Sam doesn't follow always what Dan is putting out.
Which is hilarious to me.
Sam's becoming her own player. Like if anybody thought like Sam was just following her husband, no. No, like if you play Sam Powell or even watch her games, you can tell like her own part. Yeah, she's not Dan, and her own style is different. There is, I hate to say it, more fun when you watch her play. It's just more fun when you watch her play.
It also looks like she just has fun, right?
That's fun, yeah.
Which helps.
Which helps,
right?
Yeah. You watch Dan, it's like this is the complicated math problem that's going down, and everybody, depending on your mood, I can love some technical clicks. Some other times, I can love some commentary.
Right.
It all depends on how you feel in that time.
Absolutely. So, turning the tables, asking the interviewer a question.
No, it's fine.
Not all of your players are local to you.
Right.
Have y'all?
None of them are local to me.
Right. So have y'all embrased Roll20 as a tool to practice with?
Yeah, I said it at the beginning of the year, and this is why I think it's like losing in top 16. I'm out with Isaac, Isaac, Paris Gordon, who else? There was like another couple of big name people, like lost in top 16. And I'm like, all right, what is the big destabilizer? And I would say it's this. Oh, look, there's more teams, guy. And there's Roll20.
So Tyler will tell you that Roll20 and Rock Online has been a huge contributor to his success.
Yeah.
He has been one of the most prolific players in the online scene over the past year, and that I think played a huge role in his success.
Yeah.
Not only at this event, but throughout the year.
But it's just like this. He's the one that made Wales famous.
Correct.
And let's ask ourselves this. When we initially looked at Wales, Namor, and we're like, man, this is crap.
Yeah.
Everybody said this is crap.
Well, I think we are all guilty of looking at the Retaliator click and nothing more.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. It's just like when I looked at Wasp Part of the Avengers, I was like, oh, this is just going to die, blow up, and then hurt my team. And then when Lucas came back at me, he's like, no, man, you need to get this because you can do this trick, and you can do these tricks. Like, right now, I think a lot of people don't understand. I'm doing a colossal trick, but I can still do a tiny trick. And I can still make a colossal standard size or tiny. Both of those things can happen.
Tiny Strata, tiny Strata.
Oh,
Rex.
Tiny Surtur does wreck.
Tiny Surtur is evil.
Tiny Surtur is
Rex.
No. Tiny Surtur is Rex.
I faced that.
Yeah. So there is a point in which there is more creativity with her. Why are most people not going to play her? Like, well, if she dies. When she dies, I'm going to take 1 damage. I'm like, okay, if you're within 6 squares,
so
she has the most tame title punishment.
I think that people who say that about characters like Wasp miss an important calculation for a lot of pilots, which is threat evaluation, right? If you're looking at possible targets and you see a Hawkeye or you see a Tidal Wasp, Hawkeye is easier to kill for more points. Or you can try to slug through her 6 clicks with toughness. Right. So what are you going to go after? You're going to go after the Hawkeye.
And he has more offensive perception. I'm more offensive threat.
Right. Because that's a threat to everything, right?
Yeah.
Hawkeye can mess people up single-handedly.
Yeah.
Right? So, of course, people aren't going to go after Tidal Wasp until Hawkeye is dead. Now, if Hawkeye is dead and Tidal Wasp are dead, then you're down 115 points and things are not looking great. Right?
Yeah.
But Tidal Wasp should not be the first thing to die. She shouldn't be on your build.
And, okay, so I would make the argument is yes, Tidal Wasp is usually not the first thing to die unless somebody is, like, peaked to gain. Like, your average player, even a lot of high-level players, are not going to come out and just be like, yeah, I'm going to kill Tidal Wasp.
No, well, of course, no one's really doing a 6 damage pin song. Right?
You can with a Perplex with Green Arrow, but very few people are running that sort of thing.
Right. So the threats to one-shotting her are really limited. So you're probably doing flurries from Star Fox with a Perplex up on damage, right, to get through the toughness. That's probably how you do it. But still, that's also requiring Star Fox to be in position in order to do that.
No. If Star Fox does that, he's going to get wrecked by your entire force.
Right.
Like the one thing about Wasp Heart of the Avengers, I think, is the issue. And I know we're regressing, and we were talking about Tyler's team, and we regressed back to talking about Wasp. But the biggest thing about Wasp is literally your engine for that team. You'd be like, no, you got Star Fox, you got Hawkeye. They are like the outer shell of the team.
They're the wheels. Right?
Yeah, they're the wheels. They're
the wheels and axle, right? But the engine is what turns them.
Yeah,
right.
And it is Wasp Part of the Avengers. And somebody be like, well, hey, what about Cap? Cap is just there
support power.
Support.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, and call stuff in at 50 points. He'll call a Cyclops in.
Right.
Which I mostly didn't do. But yeah. So
right.
Anyway, let's go back to the importance of Roll20 because that's what you asked me. I think Roll20 is in a team construct is this. If your team is organized and willing to have coordinated practice or willing to schedule practice with other team members 2-3 weeks before events or just randomly scrimmage and test, your rate of success and development will be exponential. But if you just use Roll20 as something that you do before, like a week before the tournament, just to go through matchups, I'm sorry, you're wasting potential. I have not gotten to a point where I haven't scrimmaged with other teams, but I've scrimmaged with enough other people in the team to be like, oh, I'm going to talk to you about this style play, scrimmage you on this other style play. You need to have a practice. Come talk to me and scrimmage. And I'm like, I'm not the best freaking, pilot at all, but I can pilot anything at least B class. I'm
Which
not.
is where I think I am.
Yeah,
right?
I can pilot anything B class. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I came through and did, down the trenches, fire that shot, blow up the Death Star. Don't call me for that. You be like,
that's the Matty G call.
That's
right?
the Matty G call. You like, hey man, we gotta blow up some TIE fighters. I'm like, yo, 10-4, good buddy. I'm on your wing. I got you. So
hitting TIE fighters, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah, they're like, oh hey,
fire in their general direction, and somehow
you'll get it.
Yeah.
All right. But here's the thing I look at the general culture of Roll20, and it goes like this. You're in a Facebook group because Realms is dead. Like, let's just be honest, Realms is dead. If Realms said, hey, you want to go play Roll20, and you had like a forum for that, and I know there's probably some place where you can play online games or play by the post, nobody reads that. Nobody reads that. So you got to be in a Facebook group.
Play by the post sound. I would much rather have every single one of my teeth pulled over the course of 20 days, like just one tooth a day, just however long it takes, just pull one tooth individually. I would much rather do that than play by post.
So you replace it with like a bionic grill. You're like, yeah.
Hold on, I got my dice. Hold 1 second.
Hold on, wait a second. Just spin the tooth. You're like, what does it say? What does it say? All right, but
boxcars.
All right, so coming back to it, if you go online, you are bound to, you're rolling the dice on the quality of people that you're getting. And if you say like, hey, I'm a general chat, I want to play a game, what'll end up happening is some random guy that you never heard of will be like, oh, play, I'm off.
Is it even better?
And then you'll play something, and then he'll play something fun, and then you're like, I'm about to murder you.
So, I mean, there is definitely some of that. But Lane Miller and Tyler and myself and Aaron Morgan and Matt Dunham, we all hover around, Dunham. We all stay pretty active on the online circuit. So there is definitely high-end meta to be had. Now, for instance, one poor soul this past week, bless his heart, he said, okay, I want to play your Rock Cut build. I said, all right, cool. What are you going to play? He said, I'm going to play 300-point Carnage. And then I lowered my voice and I got just as serious as I could, and I said, dude, I have access to 3 main force outwits. This isn't going to be fun for you. Are you sure? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay. And Carnage never got an attack off.
Yeah, because people forget you can outwit Colossal Retaliation.
Well, yeah, Carnage is Colossal Retaliation. You can outwit his shape change. You can outwit all the things that Carnage is going to use.
Good.
So, I think a little bit of that has to be whenever we, as high-end meta players, interact with largely casual players, we have to acknowledge the skill gap, right?
Yeah.
Because in online play, and this is one thing I really like about online play, there is no wealth gap, right? Well, when I'm talking about wealth, I mean wealth in figures, wealth in money. Well, it doesn't matter if you have every figure in the game, or if you don't own a single solitary figure. If you know how to play the game, you can win matches in Roll20.
Right. And I think that's something that
it's an equalizer.
It's an equalizer for the money. And that's why I've been saying for a while now, like, get on a team, form a team, and share figures. Because folks will be like, I couldn't get this. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. You're a bit full of crap.
If I could say one thing that I think hinders the transition from casual play to competitive play, it is the idea that I need to own a figure before I practice it.
I need to own a figure before I think about it.
Right. that is the single limiting thing. And then those same players 5-6 months from now are complaining about how expensive the game is. When if you look at how expensive it is compared to other games, it isn't.
HeroClix is relatively cheaper than any card game you're going to play.
Right. If you have a $100 card in Magic and you need 3 or 4 of them for your deck, that's $400. Right?
Yeah.
Plus the other 50-something cards in your deck. Right? You can get to $1,000, $2,000 easy in Magic. Right? Whereas a team like mine today, the most expensive figure on my build was I did play a Lockjaw. So Lockjaw is definitely not cheap. He's about $75, $100 right now. I played a Joker ID, which is around $80 right now. But short of that, you know, my main force, 150 points of my build, is available in a Fast Forces.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is $20 investment, and then with that you get a Mudman. And the Mauser bot's not bad either. Like, there's a couple others that are not bad.
And how about just the turtles in that set are not bad?
No, I said that for a while. I've said that for a while. The turtles are good.
That's a really good Fast Force.
It is. I think it will be constantly underestimated because
which I'm fine with.
Three Mudman is a thing.
People can continue to underestimate that until, and I'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All
right, we're coming back. Sorry, we cut out for a second.
So we're both team captains. Right?
Yeah, we're both together.
How do you take somebody like an Easter Brock and a Matty G and help them? Because I think that you and I are more builders than we are pilots.
Correct.
Right? So, as builders, how do you coach pilots?
It depends on what type of pilot. Because, like, for example, I rage. There's stream documentation of it, of me raging at Matty G about what he's going to play. Okay, you don't have to deal with that with Easton. Okay, because you know Easton's going to play blank.
Easton's going to be fine.
Easton's going to be fine in terms of what he's going to play. Matty G's like, convince me until the last minutes, and then once it is, the freaking golden scepter from on high will land on the team, anoint the team, anoint his dice, and then he will go forth and conquer. But the joke on the team is he's gladiator. You know, straight up.
That's fair, right?
He's gladiator.
Once he loses his confidence, he's
done. Right? But as long as if he is confident, he will roll through a tournament. Yeah. He will not, because the thing is, Matt doesn't care. But here's the thing, Matt doesn't have any legacy burdens, which is Easton's problem.
Easton has a huge legacy burden.
Easton has a huge legacy burden. And unfortunately for him, and I'm just saying this realistically as his friend, is getting Team World's win was probably the worst thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
Because now he has a title, he's reached the top.
But it's attached to Howard.
But it's not even as attached to Howard. It's not by himself.
Fair. Also fair.
It's not. I don't think. I'm gonna be clear. I don't think Easton has any daddy issues. No. Because anybody that this isn't 3 years ago. This isn't 4 years ago, where everybody was like, Easton's only doing good because Howard's hooking him up. Like, no. Anybody that believed that was a fool. And even when I said that on the quarry, I'm like, personal lookout for Easton Brock. I was like #1 fanboy day one.
Right.
Okay.
Because again, I truly believe that Easton Brock is the best pilot. Do you think he's better, like just raw piloting skills? Do you think that Easton Brock could pilot a team better than Matty G?
Ooh, because here's what I will say.
And what criteria would you use to judge that?
If I'm going to say if we're going to say scale of piloting, I would say you have a class, and Easton, Matt, Adam Friedman, PJ are all in that class. Okay.
Do you think Adam Friedman's that level?
Yeah.
I mean George Massey, right? Obviously.
No. George and Pat, George and Pat are on a different level.
Or a level above.
And the reason why I say George and Pat are a level above is listen to George. Just talk with George about why things work. Talk to Pat. Like, I've been pumping Majestics Insiders, Majestics on YouTube, and they think like I'm probably getting paid by Pat. No, because it's that good. Because if a person like me who's been playing this game for over 10 years, like, oh, here's good insight. Okay, I'm still growing from listening to this. Then yeah, you're on a different level because you're still talking to guys like me. While the new person is coming in, they're like maybe gleaning 10% of the field. I'm up here like, oh my gosh, this is manna from heaven.
The new people, like my teammate that I was talking about, Steven, the one I tutored your build with, bless his heart, he's getting it. He's getting it. But I don't think that he would glean what he needed to glean from the Majestics podcast.
No, because he's at the bottom of the mountain. Right. Like you and I, we're looking near the top. Like someone just needs to hand us a hand, and maybe a little bit more effort, we get up there. But we're still looking out the side, like, oh man, it's a pretty good view from up here.
We can see the mountaintop.
We can see the mountaintop, and we can also see the other horizons.
Right.
Okay, most standard players are at the bottom of the mountain, looking at the plethora of mountains around, and wondering which one should I climb. And so, sort of going back to the pilot question is, how do you train a good pilot? And the question comes in is, what is their strength, and do you make it better? And then what do you offer as a teacher? And you cannot necessarily make them a master of what you were a teacher of, but you offer as best as what you see as a teacher for them. So like with Matt, I remember when folks used to goad Matt back in Colorado all the time. Like he won the first time he won the Colorado State Championship, and he was pretty much known as what was that one Thor that was like the zombie Thor Prime? It was the clone Thor. Ragnarok.
Okay,
yeah. He was pretty much known as like Ragnarok Prime guy, and with Justin Zephyr. And they would goad him into playing that. And I had to come back to him. I was like, look, man, screw this. They have stuff ready for that. Forget all the stuff they said. They're trying to prove that they're better than you by goading you into something that they know is a trap.
Can I get $1 for the one I just gave you?
So I said, look, here's what we're going to do. We are going to beat them with technique.
And you have to.
And I was like, this is what we're going to do. This is how this is going to run. This. He's convinced. Boom. He rolls him. All that smack talk stopped. I have another teammate, KJ, local area. Local casual guys talk smacked on him. Said, oh, you suck. Oh, this other stuff. Blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the other. I said, you know what? Y'all got a big old tournament coming up. It's 400 points. I said, we're going to beat them with technique. Play Jakeem and never attack with them. Just to prove how good you are. And he did that. And then one dude almost flipped the table. So, no, the dude did flip the table, but his stuff wasn't on there, fortunately. So, if I'm teaching a pilot, it's like I said with the type of leaders. I'm like, yo, man, let me go into your head. Let me hit you with that Zen knowledge. Let me get you to open your mind, tap into the force a little bit. Let's see what like an element pops out. Is it fire, lightning? Did you push me? Did you try to force choke me? Is it freaking poison coming out? Like let me try to figure out what type of magic you're doing. And then we're like, all right, you start here. But I have a vision of like, okay, you're going to go into these you can go in these different directions, or no, it's just best for you to go down this path. I think that's the thing as a coach. It's like it's that crafting of the stone marble. And you can look at the marble and see the figure in the marble. You just have to whittle
away the crap, right?
Right.
I think Michelangelo did David, right?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
So whenever Michelangelo did David, his comment about it was that it was always there.
Right.
David was always there. It was just clearing away the excess, which is what I think as a coach you have to do.
Right.
And it can be sometimes hard because, especially so. For example, we have a few players here at our local group who have a tremendous anger issue. Okay, and I'm trying, like one guy particularly, he has trouble completing events. He'll rage quit after a loss and pack his stuff into the truck.
Well, and
how do you coach that?
Because the first thing I come back is like, if it depends on the source of the rage, because if the source of the rage is they did jank, how dare they, then I'm like,
and that's part of it.
and the first thing I come back to is like, this is Vietnam, I'm the Viet Cong and I have no Bushido, what's up, son? You're dead. If it comes back to they rage because they feel like they are superior, I'm like, learn humility. Learn humility. Be humble. Come sit at this table. If you do not recognize that I am like a 5th level black belt at this game, when I didn't even take my foot to your face. I like pinpoint accuracy hit the one part in your back and you collapsed. You have to respect that.
Right. You have to.
If you fail to, then it's really you are stupider than you think you are.
And this will happen over and over and over, and it will continue to happen until you learn.
But then the other thing, and the last one is I say this is like at no point in time, and then I deal with this on and off in various places. You think people are entitled to deal with your crap, and you have not mastered yourself. You need to eat it. Just eat it. And go home and cry to the wall. But just eat it at the tournament, be a man, and not cry.
Absolutely. And also, to a certain degree, if you want people to have to deal with your crap, whatever your crap is, your skill has to be at an appropriate level for people to have to want to deal with your crap.
Deal with your crap. Because it has to have some benefit for the other party to have to deal with your crap.
Where's PJ? How's Easter doing? I'm sometimes a difficult person to get along with. I know this, right? But my belief is that I bring enough to the table in a local community to where people put up with me because they learn from it, right? And you have to do that. You have to make your level of crazy worth it to whoever you're hanging around with. Right. It's just a life thing. That's not even a heroclix thing. It's just a life thing.
Right. And here's the thing where I look at when you're developing talent, and in particular, you say in the rage thing, is I first asked, in the back of my head is this a personality thing? Is this a perspective thing? Because I know when I first started, like my year 1, game 1, I came in like I did all this stuff in chess. I had this such rating in chess. I went to chess nationals. I'm great. This is just chess.
I'm Billy Badass, right?
Yeah, this is chess with little plastic men. I'm great. And then when I got waxed by freaking Ultimate Thor, not new Ultimate Thor, classic Ultimate Thor, not like, hey, 10th anniversary remake of Ultimate Thor, no, Ultimate set, Ultimate Thor, with the Ultimate's team ability Thor, and he just kills my team, and he's getting all his stats up, and I don't know why he can get stats up, and why I'm taking all this damage, and I can't fight back. But we have equal points, so I thought this should be fair.
I can too.
And it isn't. And I rage inside, and I go like 0-3. Okay, at the
because you had one bad game, you went on tilt.
I had 3 bad games.
Well, and you didn't know how to get out of it.
No, yeah, and because it didn't make sense. Because I'm at home, I'm like, I'm not even doing the rules right. So what I said to myself is, I am not going to stop this game at least until I win a tournament. And when I won my first tournament locally, I was like, yes, I finally won. I put in all this effort, and I've done all the stuff, and I won. And I wasn't on Realms. I was on the old WizKid site, and nobody was really giving you good advice. So I can say it was mostly on my own accord. But now you don't have to do that. You know,
this community is kind enough. We really, I think, of course, there are bad eggs everywhere, right? In every community. But I think as a whole, this community is kind enough and helpful enough that there's no reason for anyone to have to go it alone.
Right.
Right? This is a complicated game. This game's hard, right?
Yeah.
And there's no reason to have to go it alone. So let me flip the script now a little bit. You're a builder, I'm a builder. I'm a captain, you're a captain. How do you make sure that you get fed?
Dude, that's the hard thing. Okay, and the reason I say that is
because it's a lot of giving, right?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of, it's more than a lot of giving.
It's good to see you both together. All right, have a good evening.
Hold on. Okay, so we were talking about making sure that you as a leader
and as a
captain get fed. So like initially, Mace as my co-captain was Ouroboros. It was Ouroboros.
What do you mean by that?
As you eat the tail, you keep going. As Ouroboros snake eats the tail, it just keeps going. It'll eat his tail, grow, eat more of his tail, grow, eat more of his tail, grow. But the thing that with Mace and I, we are yin and yang, well, we were yin and yang, and we would push each other perpetually to be better. And I would give it to him, he would give it to me. He had the aggression that I needed and the sort of chill the hell out, and I had the this is how you think through this. And he and I worked through together. He would puff up, I would be like, nah, like I would sort of have different comebacks. And so when I lost Mace, it just turned into just things coming out. And I had locals, and I have very good players locally. The problem with locally is getting everybody committed to the understanding of what the actual competitive scene is versus their perception of what the competitive scene is. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm diatribing.
It's a different game.
It is a different game.
It's a completely different
and
game.
even if you tell folks, no, this is not what anyone's going to do.
Absolutely.
They're going to still say, but this is a possibility. And that possibility is like 0.1. And I'm not saying that insulting to anybody in my locals, but the problem is when someone says this build is going to show up, or this game element can show up, and it hurts your team, and you're like, yeah, but it also loses to 60 other matchups. Like, there's no reason why anybody would run this. Like, well, hey, you know, they can run it. And if by chance that shows up at the event and you never run it and they see it, they're like, look, man, it showed up. And I'm like, yeah, and it went 0-4.
Right.
But yeah, that's the problem. So like getting everybody on board, but going back to feeding myself.
Realizing the meta is paper, rock, scissors, right? Paper, rock, scissors, spot, lizard, right? And then just acknowledging that that's a thing. Like me today, I was more than prepared to fight Starro. I did 3 times. I beat it 3 times, but I lost to my silver bullet, which is conventional shredders. And that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But going back to feeding yourself.
But yeah, I have to come back and as I read, and I ask myself, what can make my guys better than anybody else? Because I have to assume now the secret knowledge of making a better player has nothing to do with the actual figures in the game.
I agree.
Because most of that element are public information.
Yes.
So now it comes down to every other element of what makes a good player great.
Yes. Which is positioning. It's
No,
pacing.
no, none of that. Nothing with the game. Nothing with the game. And see, and this is why my philosophy is different. Is, again, like I said, my issue is your head.
Yeah.
You know, my issue is your
Controlling
head.
your emotional state.
There's like, and when I started looking into it, I was like, I'm gonna look at these 3 things, and those 3 things turn into 5 to 10, and then I'm like, okay, look, I could keep teaching my guys something new that's relevant for at least 5 years from now on current technology. Okay, I can have a new teaching module, and I do develop a new teaching module every year for them. They can listen to it or not. but I develop a new teaching model every year to say, like, here, this will help you with your game. This is a theory, this is other theory. This is something else you can learn about yourself. This is a biology lesson that applies to you. Like, if you notice, like, I was the biggest one of, like, eat good, eat healthy, stay hydrated, right? And what has most of the players started doing now? Eating better.
It's hard to eat well.
Eat well, it is. Right? I'm still the one with the salad, stuffing spinach and avocado down my throat. Okay, I know that. Okay, but you eat well, you stay hydrated. People are drinking more. I see people bringing water. I have folks come up to me in tournaments like, look, Logos, I got my water. Okay, those things matter. They matter, you know. So I've had to understand that me getting better as a player has less to do with what's on this board and has more to do with the prep. But then also, the biggest thing for me recently is I got a new play partner. I got Lucas, and I have somebody to play test with, somebody that can challenge me back, and I'm not just going to steamroll. And most of the time, he beats me. So I'm the one that's learning more out of it, and then I'm the one saying critiques on, like, maybe we can take something out or watch out for this. That helps me back. But I think coming in as a leader, you have to understand, it's like, what do you need to keep being a leader? What do you need to be a good player? Because even though you can't, it's like you and Maya more that, like, let me get in your head, make you a better player, instead of like, rah, I'm winning. In spite of that, every crew will still require you as leader to fight. You don't have to be slaying all the dragons, but you do need to be drawing blood on folk.
Right.
And that's the thing. As long as you are developing functions that allow you to continue drawing blood efficiently and effectively, then the folks will still follow you, you still develop, you'll still have motivation. And I was listening to a motivational speech yesterday, and the guy said, you will always eventually meet burnout and failure if you measure yourself purely by your wins. If the goal is simply to win, you will eventually burn it out because the novelty of winning will fade. It always fades. And I can say that from dealing with speech and debate and chess. I got tons of medals and trophies from those things. It gets old because eventually you're like, there's nobody to challenge me. And when someone does and they draw blood against you, then you feel good. It's real invigorating because then you're like, oh, maybe there's someone that I can use my God hand on and we can have a God fight. And then you realize when you use your God hand on them, then they're like, oh, wow, my pimp hand is that strong. And they're on the floor. Okay, and your weight. It's that One Punch Man problem. It's that Superman problem. That whole speech he has at the end of Justice League Unlimited. I live in a world of paper. And eventually your local level turns into that. You're a Superman living in a world of paper. You have Easton. But for a lot of people it does. For a lot of people it does. Your locals turns into, I live in a world of paper. Because if I come with all of my talents and strengths every week, I am saying this for myself, at my local venue, I have very good players in my local venue.
You'll get run out.
I will burn that sucker down by myself.
Either they will leave or you will leave. One of those two things will happen.
One of those two things. Right? And that's why I remove myself from time to time to take break. To take a break. Them from me and I'm from them.
Right. And that's for us, because I'm not really into the here's 1,000 points of Justice League and blurgity blurgity.
No. The more points you give me, the worse it is for you.
I'm going to screw you. Like, you don't understand.
Like, the more points you give me, the worse
you
it is for you.
don't give me north of 300 points.
No, yeah.
I'll min-max that until the point where you won't be able to play the game.
It's not even the min-max that for me now. It's like, I will summon something from the old age and the old dark before the world knew of what light was. And then I'll play something with this new space age technology. And I'm like, yeah. And now you have no soul. you're like,
here we go.
It's like, why are you looking at me with your jaw down and your eyes are black? Oh yeah, because I sucked your soul out with this combination of pieces with this old map.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. And That's why, like, we had an unlimited
Here's
points.
my old friend Ryut. Here's
Oh, here's my old friend Ryut.
And Thanosai.
Oh, here's my old friend Turtle.
And enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Here's my old friend Bill, you know, Agent AIM.
Yondu.
Yeah, Yondu. I mean, like, yeah, Yaka arrows for the fifth. Yeah. So there's a point, like, yeah, you unleash it, and then you feel good, and then you let it go. You can let it go for like 3 to 6 months. But you know, if I tell, like, I'll warn my venue at times. I'm like, I'm coming for this piece.
Right.
And then most folks will be like, oh crap, this is going to be one of those tournaments. And then there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
Well, actually, there is something that they can do. They can acknowledge that you're going to come and rise to the challenge or not.
Yes.
That's their choice.
That's their choice. Some people decide to just chill. They're like, all right, well, I have a chance of not playing. And then others are like, well, okay, I'll try to step up. And then it can be frustrating. But again, I hate to say it. Yeah. I hate to say it.
Good to see you.
Most of my recharge doesn't come from that. Like most of my I hate to say locals is for me to get stuff, talk with my locals, have fun, and then do novel things. And if I need to play test, they'll bleed for me 1 week before the tournament so that I have a live test. And maybe 2 weeks before the tournament. So that's it.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. Well played today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Have a safe trip home.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, but that's how I look at it. So, but yeah, I don't look at, you know, as friends, they're friends. I don't look at them as, yeah, you're going to recharge me from the game. Definitely a few of their mindsets now. But yeah, like you turn to teammates, you turn to other stuff to make yourself a better player, because what's inside your head, I feel, matters more than it did before. It definitely matters more than it did 2 years ago.
So I'm
Wow, you're so good at this game. Jeez.
so hard.
Man, what a player. Great sportsman, too.
Have you begun to organize your team differently with team events becoming more prevalent? There are 3 major team events this year. Have you thought about how you're going to reorganize Phoenix with that in mind? Does that enter into your thinking at all?
Here's the thing, and I know it's getting loud. It's just this is really like one of the only few places we can record without disturbing finals. What ends up happening is you're not in frame. You're still not in frame. Like he's literally perfectly in frame.
I'm about to be in the frame.
No, you're not.
I'm about to be in the frame.
No, you're not. Now you're in frame. Okay.
Well, you know, he was when he was too funny. He wasn't.
You know what? I'm not editing that out, J Major.
You should have just told him that he was in frame and moved on.
I would have moved on.
Yeah, I'm not editing that out, J Major. J Major, top 4?
No.
Top 8. Top 8. Real briefly, is your son still on top? Did your son win?
No, he lost. We both lost in top 8. You know, we're okay. It's all good.
Clicks World Order, folks, we're sleeping. Now they know. Better represent. Better recognize. All right. Okay, so we're back. It's for teams. Here's my issue. So you have teams Nats, Team Worlds, and you have Rock teams. And all 3 are sealed. If Rock says next year we are doing team constructed,
Like they did this year. They did a team construction event earlier in the year, right? And they just applied the Super Highlander rule, which we already talked about.
yeah, you have Super Highlander rule. If you have Super Highlander rule and maybe 1 or 2 other limitations, it could be interesting. But the problem comes back with like building balanced teams is like, for example, if you're trying to say like I put the best players on one
Wait,
team,
you have the best chance of winning.
that doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
That doesn't work. It doesn't work. And here's why. If you get 2 defensive players and an aggro player, and they're all 3 your best players, and you will put them on the same team, that team will not succeed. You need to have
3 different styles.
Well, no, it's even more complicated than that. You need to have a person that is a competent builder, a competent pilot, and a hella flexible person. If you are able to do those 3 things, you will have a solid team better than, hey, I have my 3 best guys on there. And then some people say it's like, but you, Matty G, and PJ are on a team. And I'm like, well, let's follow that format.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
we have PJ.
PJ's the builder. Oh no, PJ's the builder. Matty G's pilot, and I'm hella flexible.
Fair enough.
And then, because again, a lot of folks just think it's like, oh look, Matty G and PJ always straps Edward to their back and carry him. Some tournaments, Team Nats last year, Team Worlds, yeah, they did for points, and I've did videos about that. But I also at other times, the games come down to me and I've won. So why is that? Well, when we have our figures in our pools, if we're able to make 3 competent teams, and you have one team that requires you to be very defensive, you have another team that requires you to be very aggressive, and another all-purpose team, whoever feels the most comfortable anchoring will pick whatever they want, and then the other person's left with what's left. And if you're left with what's left and you only have one style of play, or you only know how to win one way, then you're done. But if it's like I say, like my puppeteering skills, if I had to rank puppeteering skills, you and I have probably the best puppeteering skills in the game.
What do you mean puppeteering?
You're able to manipulate 12 plus elements. Yeah, like you're manipulating 12 plus game elements on the board. Now, most folks will be like,
that's too much.
But that's too much, and it's too slow. But that's part of puppeteering. Puppeteering is I move everything in place. It's like, what was it? Not German clockwork, and I can have a 5 to 6 minute turn. But when I'm done,
you're done.
You're done. Yeah, like yeah.
And it's demoralizing, right?
It's demoralizing.
Right. It's like we talked about on the stream a few days ago with PJ's rock cage build with the ants, right? Ants are a tech that I'm extremely familiar with, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I feel like I pioneered a lot of that tech. Ants, hogs in general, Starro in general, they force your opponent into a tunnel vision. Which doesn't actually limit their options, but they begin to think that their options are limited.
Right. Yeah, and definitely when you lose Omni-Tool type characters.
Right.
But sort of like rewinding back to that team question is, all right, I have played, and like folks will not recognize this, I have played so many different types of teams on, Phoenix Nest team with me, PJ, and Matt, that some folks will be like, well, Edward, you're a well-balanced team guy. And it's like, well, I've run temp holes, I've run poison teams, I've run barrier teams, I've run 3 to 4-man teams. Like I have run, in all the team events that I've done, I have played so many different styles of play and beaten I would say many folks would say Edward Shelton has no right beating, purely because I'm diversified. And if you do not have a person like that, team seals becomes a problem. And yes, your other two people need to be able to be flexible enough to have one or two other types of skill sets. But you just need to have one person that's an omni-tool that can play everything. You're going to play what's left, and then the other two have the responsibility to carry it. And then you just roll from there.
But you have to accept that that's the way it's going to be, right?
Yes.
So I think one of the things about Team Seal I've noticed is that the person who plays with what's left ends up for some reason feeling
less than. Yeah, like the team crapped on them.
Right. They're left out.
Oh, that's the scrub player. And I would argue is this. It's like, did you give... I think the biggest problem is that two teams, like when people build Team Sealed, they build two teams that are overwhelmingly good. And then they say to that third person, here are the scraps from our table, let's make you a team. When what they need to do is say, hey, we built 3 functional teams. Now get good, son. And folks will be like, my team record is impeccable and I'm undefeated and only I lose when I pull, crap. And I'm like, look, son, I've gotten 4th place in the world pulling crap when my teammates were Dragon and Mace. And we were nobodies at the time. So, come on. Like, we didn't pull crap. And we got up there. So I can say to a degree, and I tell my teammates this, it's like, I don't accept someone saying like, oh, we didn't break because we pulled crap. I'm like, no, something else happened is when I look at your pools and you got sidelined by that shiny chase, or you got sidelined by that super rare, and you're like, oh, I gotta play this. Did you look and say like, oh wait, I have a straight theme team that's really effective, maybe not overwhelming, but it's really effective if I don't play the chase.
You want me to stop?
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
There are uncommons in Battle War that is a better sealed play than Name More Chase.
Yes.
Right? There are rares in Battle War which are better than Iron Fist Chase.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So, rarity of the figure, and that, whenever I ask about pools in sealed format, inevitably the response is quantified in how many supers or above they
Right.
And that's not the way to measure it. That's I pulled Spider-Queen.
Yeah.
Not I pulled a super, I pulled Spider-Queen, and she wrecked face. Right? Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. So, like, my prime example is the year I decided to just coach at Origins. It was one of the best and worst decisions I ever did. And so...
To let go?
Well, I was like...
Take your hand off the steering wheel.
Well, take the hand off the steering wheel because there's 4 members on the team at that time. It's just 4.
Which goes back to my original question about team composition.
That's also another lesson learned.
Right.
Okay, so here's what happened. It's my boy KJ, it's Wes Griffin, and it's Matty G. PJ's not even on the team yet. So I'm like, all right. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to coach. And I'm sitting and I looked at what they pulled their first time. And I'm like, y'all pull gold. You pull gold. You should be killing them. And then when they divvied up teams, KJ got the tent pole, Wes got the technical thing, and Matty G got something that was okay. And in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, this should be good. They did not do well at all. KJ didn't win a game. Wes felt like he had an insane amount of pressure on him. And Matt won, I think he won all his games. And I look back and I'm like, dude, show me your pulls. and Wes dumped the pool. And I'm like, look, we all went through grinder qualifier seals. You have a Reavers theme team right here. You're all stealth. No one can see you, and they're all commons and uncommons. You have Mute Liberation Front, other team here, completely separate figures. And then, yeah, you can use that Dark Angel if you wanted to. But I pretty much just like, and this is me, this isn't PJ talking, like I just went through their builds. I'm like, there's 3 teams that are way better than what you all built. And so, again, now I'm saying this in conjunction of, this is...
They didn't have a builder on the team.
They didn't have a builder on the team. This is KJ right after I recruited him. This is Matty G right after I recruited him. This is Wes, and I've been working with him for 2 years at the time. 2, 3, maybe 2 or 3, I forgot. So this isn't the players now. These aren't the folks that you'll run into now. There's the folks then. And so when I look at that team comp, while we are all friends, if I took out, if I was able to stand there while they were building, I would have said, Wes, you get Dark Angel and this. Matt, you play this. KJ, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. The pace is going to be a little slow. You're going to have to pick it up a bit, but you're going to play this Reavers team. And I think they would have done better. But again, I was that, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to look, and then I'm going to give them space, and I'm going to see what happens. And I was completely hands-off. And I think that at that event, I learned a lot of different stuff about like what makes a team good. So I've rearranged most of our teams so that there's a competent builder on every team.
Do you predetermine all your teams?
Yes. I have a meeting with 1 to 2 members to determine who's on teams. And if we all come to an agreement in that conversation about who's on what team, then I'm just like, that's when I actually am a dictator. I'm like, you're here.
This is happening.
You're here. You're here. And everybody's like, okay. And it's not negotiable. If somebody comes back to me and is like, yo, I don't want to deal with the same person right now, if that ever happened, I would be like, okay. But then I would say, it's like, look, if you do this, that throws 2 teams out of whack, and I'm more in a position just to remove you than if I have an extra player, somewhere else just to put them in. So that's sort of a trade-off and a back and forth on that. But if you don't have a builder on your team, somebody that actually is competent, and if you don't have somebody that's flexible, you're going to lose games. And then folks will be like, well, we pulled great and we won. I'm like, yeah, that can cover you for so long. But if WizKids keeps doing what they're doing now, which is they're saying, look, here's tournament season, we're going to make balanced sealed sets. There's one, Battle World is balanced. If they keep doing that, guess what? You can't be like, well, yeah, I pulled like 3 chases and a super rare. Like, no, that won't be enough to cover you. Like, you're going to have to get good, son.
I agree.
But, all right, so I have like 12 minutes left of my battery. I like to thank Wes for being on the show. He's given me 15 hours of editing to do. Is there any shout-outs you'd like to do before we...
Shout out my teammates, Strata. Guys, we did well this weekend. I'm looking forward to doing well in December. Looking forward to Worlds. You'll be at Worlds, right?
Yes.
Pax, you'll be there?
Yes, with a lot fewer people, unfortunately. That's a conversation for another day. All right, it's the Rock World Finals. Daniel Powell, the Click Staff Army, has proved my promo right. First back-to-back.
Let's see if
First back-to-back heroclix World Champion. I mean, not here. Back-to-back.
Video here. I just want to say. Let's see if Paris makes fun of me again for practicing for 300 hours.
Whoa! Oh, yeah. All right.
It took every fucking 300 of those hours. Like, legit.
So yeah. So yeah, we got Dan first back-to-back Rock World Champion. He ended up playing Tom Kerr, and Tom Kerr is probably proving that Canada is a place to be. And Tom is a great player. He is the Canadian national champion, Rock Canadian national champion, and not only that, he is proving that he has the skills to win. So big shout outs to Tom, big shout outs to Dan. Click Star, they got it. This is Rocktober. Hello, I have a great, real brief interview. We have our international rock world champions here. State your name, please.
Yes, my name is Gone from Thailand, Bangkok.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And so you came all over here to play Rock World Cup?
Yes, it flight 26 hours to be here.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Did you enjoy the games that you watched and participated in?
Yes, I did enjoy the game. Yeah. Win and loss, but I learned many things.
Oh, okay. And so do you think like this will help you like grow your scene back in Thailand?
Sure, I learned many things, and that will help a lot to grow our community.
Okay, great. What was your favorite match watching today?
The match?
Yeah.
That would be the Daniel one with Lane. Yes.
Okay, with Lane.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Okay, so the Starro matchup.
Yeah, the Starro match.
Okay, great. So what was the team that you built for the World Cup?
Oh, for the World Cup. I built Shadow Clone, yeah, with Infinity, Star Fox, and Strata.
Oh, okay. All right. That sounds really good. So, what is the competitive scene like over in Thailand?
The competitive scene? Wow. There are a lot of, we have about 50 players now. The competitive one about 12 to 15. Yes.
Okay.
And we are growing.
All right. Well, that's great to know. So, we all appreciate you for coming out today, and more importantly, being here for the tournament and sort of showing that heroclix is a global game. And any other tournaments you come to, we definitely want to see you on the show. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna try to get